Reading Genesis. Discover the literary richness and deep meanings of Genesis. Written by Marilynne Robinson. Introduction. Reading Genesis. Unlocking the hidden literary treasures of Genesis. A fresh perspective. Ever wondered why Genesis continues to captivate readers after thousands of years? Get ready to discover the Bible's first book like never before, through the eyes of celebrated author Marilynne Robinson. Think Genesis is just old religious stories? Think again. This ancient text is actually a masterpiece of storytelling that rivals modern literature. Robinson reveals how viewing Genesis as a literary work opens up exciting new ways to understand its timeless messages. You'll learn how skilled writers crafted these familiar tales over generations. The creation story, Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, they're more than just Sunday school lessons. They're carefully designed narratives packed with hidden meanings. Want to know the best part? Looking at Genesis as literature doesn't reduce its spiritual value. It actually makes the sacred text even more meaningful. You'll start noticing clever writing techniques, recurring themes, and narrative patterns you never saw before. Robinson shows how the human writers of Genesis weren't just recording history. They were creating art. Every word choice, every story structure, and every character serves a purpose. It's like discovering a secret code that makes everything clearer. Whether you're a religious scholar or just curious about ancient literature, this approach will transform how you read Genesis. You'll find yourself spotting connections between stories, understanding characters better, and appreciating the incredible skill behind the writing. The beauty of this approach is that it works for everyone. You don't need to be religious to appreciate Genesis as literature. And if you are religious, seeing the artistic craftsmanship will deepen your spiritual connection to the text. Robinson's insights help us see how Genesis tackles big questions about human nature, morality, and our relationship with the divine, all through brilliant storytelling. These aren't just stories passed down through time. They're carefully crafted narratives that still speak to us today. Ready to rediscover Genesis? This fresh perspective will change how you see one of history's most influential books. Get ready for an adventure that combines the thrill of literary discovery with the depth of spiritual wisdom. Chapter 1 of 5. Reading Genesis. The Genesis, a literary masterpiece. The book of Genesis is more than just a religious text. It is a carefully crafted literary work that tells profound stories about humanity and God. While millions consider it sacred scripture, it is also a beautifully written narrative with deep meaning. Genesis was not written by a single person at one time. Instead, its stories were passed down through generations, carefully refined by scholars and rabbis. These stories were originally shared orally before being written down, showing how important they were to the community. The text blends theology and storytelling in a unique way. Its narratives about creation, human fall, the Great Flood, and ancient patriarchs are not simple historical records. They are sophisticated stories designed to help people understand complex ideas about God, humans, and the world. The authors of Genesis were more than just record keepers. They were skilled storytellers and theologians who used language powerfully. Their goal was to preserve their understanding of God's relationship with their people. These stories likely emerged during the time of Exodus, when a group of people were forming their national identity. The narratives helped them understand their history and connection to God. By creating these stories, they embedded their spiritual knowledge into powerful, memorable language. Reading Genesis as a literary work reveals its incredible depth. The text shows how carefully chosen words can communicate deep spiritual truths. It's not just about recording events, but about creating a meaningful narrative that resonates with people across generations. The beauty of Genesis lies in its ability to blend theological instruction with compelling storytelling. Each story carries layers of meaning, inviting readers to reflect on profound questions about existence, morality, and humanity's relationship with the divine. Scholars recognize that understanding Genesis requires appreciating both its historical context and its literary artistry. The text is a testament to how human creativity can be used to explore and express spiritual understanding. Ultimately, Genesis stands as a remarkable piece of religious literature. It demonstrates how stories can carry spiritual wisdom, shape cultural identity, and continue to inspire people centuries after their creation. Chapter 2 of 5, Reading Genesis. Genesis creation, a unique story. The book of Genesis tells a remarkable creation story. Unlike other ancient myths, it describes God creating the universe in a simple, powerful way. In just 6 days, God brings everything into existence. The story begins with a profound statement. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. These few words capture an entire universe's creation. This approach differs greatly from other ancient creation myths. In Mesopotamian and Greek myths, creation involves complex battles between gods. Multiple deities fight and struggle to shape the world. Genesis presents a completely different narrative. The Hebrew God in Genesis is unique. He exists without explanation or ancestors. No cosmic battles occur. Instead, God simply speaks and creation happens. "Let there be light," he says, and light appears. After each creation step, God declares something important. "And it was good" becomes a repeated phrase. This shows the world's inherent goodness and God's intentional design. The creation process follows a specific order. Light comes first, then sky, land, and seas. Vegetation follows, then celestial bodies. Animals appear next. Finally, humans are created, both male and female, in God's image. On the seventh day, God rests. This day becomes sacred, setting a pattern for all creation. The entire narrative has a rhythmic, structured feel. Interestingly, the Genesis creation story has surprising connections to scientific thinking. It begins with nothingness, similar to the scientific concept of creation from nothing. This approach differs from myths that require pre-existing matter or complex divine genealogies. The story challenges traditional mythological traditions. It presents creation as an orderly, purposeful process. God's actions are direct and meaningful. Each step builds upon the previous one, creating a coherent world. Genesis offers more than just a religious account. It provides a philosophical perspective on existence. The creation narrative suggests that the universe is intentional, not random. It implies a deeper meaning behind cosmic events. This ancient text continues to inspire and challenge readers. Its simple yet profound language speaks to fundamental questions about our origins and purpose. Chapter 3 of 5, Reading Genesis. Divine Mercy Revealed. The story of Cain and Abel is a powerful biblical narrative about human nature and God's complex character. Two brothers bring offerings to God. Abel, a shepherd, offers his best livestock. Cain, a farmer, presents some fruits. God favors Abel's offering, which makes Cain jealous. In a moment of rage, Cain kills his brother. This becomes the first murder in biblical history. The Bible emphasizes the seriousness of taking human life. Humans are created in God's image. Killing another person is considered an attack against God himself. Surprisingly, God does not kill Cain for his terrible crime. Instead, he places a protective mark on Cain. This mark prevents anyone from seeking revenge against him. God's response seems counterintuitive. He shields the murderer instead of punishing him. This reveals a deeper understanding of justice and mercy. Cain is allowed to live, have children, and continue his life. His son Enoch becomes a special figure who does not experience death. This demonstrates God's capacity for unexpected grace. Throughout Genesis, God shows consistent inconsistency in punishment. Adam and Eve are not killed after eating forbidden fruit. They are simply expelled from Eden. The Great Flood spares Noah's family. These stories challenge traditional ideas about divine punishment. God's justice is not about immediate, harsh revenge. Instead, It involves compassion and opportunities for redemption. The narrative suggests that God's love transcends human concepts of fairness. Mercy often overcomes strict judgment. Punishment is balanced with a chance for growth and understanding. Cain's story teaches profound lessons about forgiveness and second chances. It shows that human mistakes do not automatically result in complete rejection. God's approach demonstrates a deep commitment to humanity. Even when people fail dramatically, there is still hope. Redemption remains possible. This biblical account invites readers to reflect on mercy, justice, and divine love. It suggests that compassion can coexist with accountability. The story of Cain and Abel continues to inspire and challenge readers. It reveals the complexity of human nature and divine relationships. Chapter 4 of 5. Reading Genesis. Tower of Babel, Divine Wisdom. The Tower of Babel story reveals profound insights about human nature and divine understanding. After the Great Flood, Noah's descendants multiplied rapidly. They shared a single language and worked together toward a common goal. Their ambitious project involved building a massive tower reaching toward the heavens. This construction symbolized human unity and potential. However, God saw something deeper in their efforts. The people wanted to build a structure that could rival divine power. Their tower represented extreme human ambition. They believed they could accomplish anything through collective effort. God's response was unexpected. Instead of destroying the people, he scattered them and confused their languages. This action was not purely punitive but protective. The biblical text suggests God recognized humanity's incredible potential. He understood that unchecked human ambition could lead to dangerous outcomes. By fragmenting their communication, God created natural boundaries. This intervention wasn't meant to destroy human creativity. Rather, it was designed to prevent potential catastrophic consequences. God respected human intelligence while also maintaining necessary limits. The story demonstrates a nuanced divine perspective. God sees human potential as both remarkable and risky. Our ability to innovate can be powerful but also dangerous when uncontrolled. Linguistic diversity became a natural brake on unrestrained human ambition. Different languages force people to slow down, reflect, and develop more measured approaches to challenges. This narrative challenges simple interpretations of divine punishment. It suggests God views human intelligence with respect and caution. Our creativity is valued, but not without guidance. The Tower of Babel teaches important lessons about collaboration, ambition, and humility. It reminds us that great potential requires wisdom and restraint. Divine intervention doesn't always mean destruction. Sometimes it means creating space for growth and understanding. God's actions protect humanity from its own extreme impulses. The story continues to inspire reflection on human nature, collective achievement, and the delicate balance between ambition and prudence. Chapter 5 of 5. Reading Genesis. Genesis, Understanding Evil's Mystery. The book of Genesis explores profound questions about evil and human suffering. It doesn't offer simple answers, but provides deep insights into human nature and divine relationship. Genesis reveals humanity's complicated journey away from divine intimacy. The stories aren't just ancient tales, but powerful reflections on human limitations and potential for error. The narrative begins with Adam and Eve's choice to eat forbidden fruit. This moment symbolizes humanity's first significant exercise of free will. By choosing knowledge and autonomy, humans introduce suffering into the world. Subsequent stories like Cain and Abel, Noah, and the Tower of Babel demonstrate how human actions generate pain. These narratives show that evil often emerges from human choices, not divine punishment. Despite these challenging stories, hope remains constant. God doesn't abandon humanity after the fall. Instead, the divine relationship evolves and becomes more intimate. The covenant with Abraham represents a turning point. God promises Abraham numerous descendants, acknowledging future suffering while offering hope. This suggests that pain might have deeper meaning beyond immediate understanding. Genesis presents suffering as part of a mysterious divine design. It doesn't explain why evil exists but suggests that human experiences are part of a larger complex plan. The stories challenge readers to think beyond simple explanations of good and evil. They reveal that human beings are simultaneously capable of great error and profound potential. Divine grace emerges as a consistent theme. Even when humans fail, God remains present. The narrative demonstrates an ongoing relationship between human imperfection and divine love. The biblical text invites readers to embrace complexity. It suggests that understanding evil requires humility and recognition of human limitations. Genesis offers a nuanced perspective on suffering. It acknowledges pain while maintaining hope in divine purpose. The stories remind us that our understanding is incomplete. Ultimately, the book presents a profound meditation on human nature. It explores how choices, free will, and divine grace interact in a complex world. Conclusion: Reading Genesis. The Book of Genesis, a deeper look. The Book of Genesis is more than just an old religious text. It's a powerful piece of writing that explores deep human experiences. This book tells stories that go beyond simple words, showing how people struggle, hope, and seek meaning in life. Genesis talks about the relationship between humans and God. It shows how people face challenges and how divine guidance can help them through tough times. The book doesn't ignore the bad things in the world. Instead, it shows how mercy and hope can exist even when life is difficult. The text reveals the complex nature of human potential. It demonstrates that people are capable of both good and bad choices. At the same time, it highlights God's continuous presence and compassion, even when humans make mistakes. Through its stories, Genesis explores themes of suffering, evil, and redemption. It reminds readers that hope exists even in the darkest moments. The book teaches that human beings are not perfect, but they are always supported by a greater power. Readers can learn important lessons about life, struggle, and faith from this ancient text. Genesis shows that human stories are complicated, but they are also filled with the possibility of growth and understanding.